Yeah. Hi guys. Good evening. In the last session, we understood what is in-memory authentication in the Spring Security. So, can you tell me what is in-memory authentication in the Spring Security? What is the meaning of in-memory authentication, guys? So, in-memory authentication means configuring user details within the program. So, which user should access our application? Those user details, configuring user details within application, that is called as in-memory authentication. Is this process recommended or not recommended? This is only for development and testing purpose. This is used only in dev and test environments. We should not use this process for production environment. After that, we discussed about one concept that is called user details service in the Spring Security. What is the purpose of user details service in the Spring Security? What is the main purpose of this interface, guys? It is predefined interface provided by Spring Security module. Spring Security is one module in the Spring framework. It is predefined interface provided by Spring Security. Okay. Now, in this interface, there is one method available. This interface contains one method, load user by name. This contains one method. That method name, load user by name. What is the meaning of this load user by name method? This method is responsible to load user data based on the name. Inside this method, you can write any logic. This method signature public user load user by username. Load user by username, and it is expecting name as a parameter. Inside, you can implement this interface by using a class, and you can override this method. Inside this method, we can write any logic. You can retrieve the record from the database table by using JDBC, or you can retrieve the record from table by using data JPA also. Logic, you can write anything, but this method has to return the user object. Now, whenever we are going for Spring Security, mainly we need to understand security filter. Mainly we need to understand security filter chain. After security filter chain, we need to discuss about authentication manager. Then we are talking about user details service, and we are talking about user, right? So what is this security filter chain in the Spring Security? It will contain security context. Whenever our application started, that security context object will be created for which URL patterns the security is required, for which URL patterns security is not required, that will be configured in the security context object. We are creating security configuration class in our project. In that class, we are writing the logic to decide. So here our security configuration class available. In that class, we are writing some method. By using that method, we are deciding for which methods security is required, for which methods security is not required. So that security filter chain will be loaded. That means this is a configuration class. At the time of application startup, this class will be loaded. Whenever IOC containers start loading the class, bean methods will be executed. At the time of application startup only, this method will be executed and a filter chain object will be created. In that filter chain, we are configuring for which URLs we need to permit, for which URLs authentication should happen. That information will be loaded by filter chain and it will store in the context object. Then after, we are trying to access our application. For our application, we are going for form login. Whenever we click on login button, sign in button, Is that login page developed by us or it is provided by Spring Security? That is provided by Spring Security. So whenever that sign in page is available, here we can say sign in button will be there. Sign in button is available in the login page that is provided by Spring Security. This is not developed by the programmer. This is provided by Spring Security. So whenever your resource is secured, then that login page will be displayed. User is going to provide the details in the login page, username and password. That username and password we can configure either in the properties file, we can configure either programmatically, and we can configure in the database also. There are multiple ways available. You can configure in the YML file, or else first of all you can go for default credentials. You don't need to configure anything. If you don't configure any user detail, then security will provide some default configuration. To override that default configuration, we are going for YML file configuration. If not YML, then I can go for in-memory authentication. I can configure them within our program by using in-memory authentication. If not that, then I can go for JDBC authentication. When to go for JDBC authentication? When to go for JDBC authentication? If you are configuring your credentials in the database, we can go for JDBC authentication. If not that, then you can go for user details service. What is the purpose of user details service? What is the purpose of user details service? You can write the logic to retrieve user data by calling load user by username. There are multiple ways available to deal with credentials in our application for the authentication purpose. Initially, we have seen default credentials. When we don't configure anything, security providing some default credential, password will be printed on the console, username will be available as user. If you don't like that, then you can configure in the properties file or YML file. That is called overriding the default credential. That is also not recommended to fix the values. Then you can configure multiple users. In the YML file, you can configure only one user. If you want to configure multiple users, then you can go for in-memory authentication. In the yesterday's class, we have seen how to configure in-memory authentication credentials. Like this, you can configure multiple user details by using in-memory user details manager. If not that, if that is not recommended, then you can go for database to configure the data. To communicate with the database table, we are using JDBC authentication. In my project, I'm not using JDBC, I'm using data JPA. Then how to perform authentication with the data JPA? Then you need to implement one interface called user details service. What is that interface? That interface contains one method, load user by username. You need to create one class by overriding this method. That method should return one user object. Is it user defined class or it is predefined class? User object, that is a predefined class provided by Spring Security. You see here, we are overriding that user details. We are overriding that method available in the user details service. See here. We are implementing that interface provided by Spring Security, and we are overriding load user by username method, which is returning user object, username, password, and role. Here you can write the logic to load the data from database table by using JDBC or by using Hibernate or by using data JPA. That method will return one user object. Perfect. Now, when user trying to access our method, login page will display. Whenever this login page is loaded, user will enter the data, click on sign in button. When user click on sign in button, it will go to whom? Authentication manager. Why it is going to authentication manager? Why it is going to authentication manager? Authentication manager is responsible to authenticate the user request based on the given credential. Authentication manager will know that from where it has to get the credentials. Okay, so authentication manager will use any one of this approach which we have configured to load the user data. If it is a default, username will be user, password will be on the console. If it is YML file, it will load the data from the YML file. If it is in-memory authentication, it will load from the in-memory authentication. If it is JDBC authentication, it will load from the database table. If it is user detail service, it will call load user by username method. It will get the user data. This authentication manager will get the user data. Form data will come to authentication manager. User data will come to the authentication manager. Authentication manager will verify the user credentials are valid or not. If user credentials are valid, then only request will be processed. Otherwise, the request will not be processed. In the real time, most of the times, we are going to use user details service. Authentication manager will be configured with the user details service. User details service will contain that method which will return the user object. That user data we will load from the database table and we will return that data. Okay, so in the real time, when we implement Spring Security, authentication manager will execute. Authentication manager will talk to user detail service. User detail service method we will override. That method will be called by authentication manager. That method will return user object. That user data matching with login form user data or not. If it is matching, then only that request will be processed. Otherwise, that request cannot be processed. So we have seen how to associate user details service with the authentication manager. This is the method which we are writing to associate user details service with the authentication manager. User details service is one Spring Bean class we have created by implementing that interface, and we are overriding that method. Now, I need to tell to authentication manager how to perform the authentication. Hey, authentication manager, you talk to user detail service, you call this method, you get the user data, you verify form data matching with the user data given by the service. If matching, then process the request. Otherwise, don't process the request. So that is what we have implemented in the last session. Okay, so with this, we covered what is security, what is authentication, what is authorization for the roles, how to work with the default credentials, how to override default credentials using YML, how to work with in-memory authentication, how to work with JDBC authentication, how to work with user detail service. Now, let's go for another important concept in the security, which is called OAuth. Another important concept in the security world, that is OAuth. If you observe in our Ashok IT website also, OAuth is implemented. So if you see here, our website is available. In our website, we are having login functionality. In our website, we are having login functionality. Now assume that you want to use Ashok IT website for the class notes purpose or for the backup videos purpose. So if you want to access the class notes, observe carefully, you need to go for login. Okay, here you need to enter your credentials and you need to log in if you have the account. If you do, observe carefully guys, theoretical concept is very important here. Coding is very simple, just it is a configuration in the YML. Okay, so here you want to access Ashok IT website, you want to access class notes from our website. In order to get the class notes from the website, you need to create account in our website. Okay guys, for creating the account, there is a option register. Okay, you can click on register button, you can provide your details and you can register into our website to get the data. But there are some people who are not interested to provide their details for my website. They don't want to create account in our website, but still they want to use our website for the class notes. For them, we have given one option, sign in with Google. Sign in with Google. So what is the meaning of that? If you have Google account, like a Gmail account, Google account, with that Google account, you can access our website. If you have the Google account, you no need to create account in our website. If you already have the account in the Google, by using that Google account, you can access our website. You can go to sign in with Google. It will ask with which mail ID you want to access. So this is my mail ID, access that mail ID. It is asking this mail ID password. Am I logging into Ashok IT website or I'm logging into Google account? Where I am trying to log in? I'm trying to log in into Google account. Now let me go here. Okay, sign in into Google. When I sign in into Google, automatically it is redirected me into Ashok IT dashboard page. So do I have account in the Ashok IT? No, I have account in the Google. With the Google account, I'm able to access Ashok IT website. That's where OAuth security comes into picture. If you want to establish security integration between two applications, then only we need to go for OAuth. Let me show you another example. There is a website called Nykaa. Beauty products we can purchase from the Nykaa online beauty store. Lipstick, makeup kits will be available in the Nykaa. Now here in this website, if you want to place any order, then you need to sign in. What they are saying here, sign in with mobile or email, or else sign in with Google. So I want to use Nykaa website, but I don't want to create my account in the Nykaa. Observe carefully. I opened which website, guys? Nykaa.com. I opened Nykaa.com. Click on sign in. If you go for this option, what they will say, enter your mobile number, enter your email ID, something like that. But the problem is, if I enter my mobile number, from tomorrow onwards, I will get continuous calls. I will get continuous emails. Please purchase this product. We are giving 30% offer. We are giving 50% offer. They will disturb me continuously by sending the messages, by sending the emails, by making the phone calls. Maybe they will sell the data to some banks. They will call me. Do you want personal loan? Do you want home loan? Do you want credit card? Do you want something else? Like that, they are going to keep on calling me. That's why I don't trust these Nykaa people. I don't want to provide my data for the Nykaa website, but still I want to purchase a product. I want to purchase a product in the Nykaa website, but I don't want to create the account in the Nykaa. Are you guys getting my point? So if I create my account in the Nykaa, what is the problem? My data will be there with them for lifelong. They can use my data. They may misuse my data. They may sell my data. They will send promotional messages to me. They will send the multiple reminders. They will send multiple emails. They may misuse my data. That's why I don't trust that website. That's why I don't want to create the account in the Nykaa, but I have a requirement. I need to purchase a product. That's why what these Nykaa people has done is, boss, you don't need to create the account in our website. You trust Google. You already have created account in the Google. If you have trust on the Google, already you created the Google account. By using that Google account, you can access our application also. Using your Google account, you can access our application also. Observe carefully. I'm going to Nykaa website. Click on sign in with Google. Now, sign in with Google. Can you see what is this? What is this? OAuth 2. That means to integrate that Nykaa and Google, they are using OAuth security. I am trying to access Nykaa, but I am not interested to create account in the Nykaa. Nykaa people provided one option for me. If you have the account in the Google, using your Google account, you can access Nykaa website. That means there is some integration between Nykaa and Google, right? So select my email ID. Am I able I am trying to log in the Nika, or I am trying to log in into Google. I'm trying to log in into Google, access my mail ID. I will log in into my Google account. Perfect. When I log in into Google account, what happened here? What happened here? Am I able to access the Nika? Am I able to log in into the Nika or not? I'm able to log in into the Nika. Let me go for another website. Every developer should know about this website, which is called HackerRank. So tomorrow, when you go for the interview, they will conduct a coding test in the HackerRank website only. They will give the problems. You need to write the solution. Then and there itself, that platform will test your code, will tell whether you passed in that exam or failed in the exam. If you try to switch to another tab, automatically your window will be closed. So there is no chance for copy paste when you are writing online exam in the HackerRank. So this is online coding test and technical interview platform. Every company using HackerRank platform to conduct coding test in the first round for every software developer. Okay, guys. Now let me go for HackerRank. Okay, skills speak louder than what their slogan is available. Over 40% of developers worldwide and 3,000 companies are using HackerRank. So people are practicing their coding skills by using HackerRank. Okay, I want to practice coding. I want to test my coding skills by using HackerRank. I want to test my logical thinking by using HackerRank. For that, I want to access this website. Okay, guys. Now go here, login. So when I want to log in, are you developer or you are from company? From companies will create the test in the HackerRank. Developers will write the test and will share the results with the companies. Okay, I don't have any account. Don't have any account. Then what I need to do? Click on sign up. Click on sign up. What they are selling? What they are telling, guys? If you don't have the account, if you don't have an account, then you need to create the account in the HackerRank in order to use that. If you already have the account, you just log in. I don't have any account in the HackerRank and I don't want to create also. Why? Because they may sell my data. I'm not sure how they will use my data. I don't trust them. This is a new website. I don't trust that website. I don't want to share my data. So if you don't want to create the account in the HackerRank people provided an option. Boss, if you have account in the Facebook, with your Facebook account, you can access HackerRank. With your Google account, you can access HackerRank. With LinkedIn account, you can access HackerRank. If you have GitHub account, this is GitHub logo. If you have account in the GitHub, then also you can access your account in the HackerRank. So now, when I click on GitHub, observe here, I don't want to create account in the HackerRank because I already have account in the Google, account in the GitHub. By using my GitHub account, I want to access this HackerRank website. So let me click on GitHub link. When I click on GitHub link, now I already logged in into my GitHub account. Automatically, it is redirecting me to the HackerRank dashboard. HackerRank dashboard. Am I able to access or not? Did I create account in the HackerRank? No. Without creating account in the HackerRank, I am able to log in into the HackerRank website, and here all the C language, Java. If you click on Java, now, so there are some challenges available in the Java. Welcome to Java challenges, Java standard input output challenges, if else challenges, output formatting, loops, data types, end of file, static block. So there are so many coding challenges are available. All of you create one account in the HackerRank and daily try to solve at least 3 problems so that you will understand what is your coding skill. Try to solve at least 3 problems per day. Here they have given the difficulties also. Easy level, medium level, hard level challenges will be available. So this is the one approach to improve your coding skill. Okay, fine. That is not about coding now. It is all about OR. It is all about OAuth. Now, what you understood from this class from last 15 minutes? We want allow people to access our application without creating the account. Some people are not interested to create the account, but still I want to attract the people to use my application. So that's where we are going to use OAuth. Now let us see how this OAuth 2 is working. First of all, let us see what is this OAuth. What is this? OAuth. OAuth 2.0. Now read this. OAuth is the industry standard protocol for authorization. OAuth 2.0 focuses on client developer simplicity while providing specific authorization flows for the web application. Now, how this OAuth is going to work? There is a lot of documentation is available on the OAuth. Let me simplify that documentation for you. Now, see here, I'm having one website. Okay, I'm having one website. Let me consider this website as HackerRank website. So this is our application which we want to access. This application I'm calling as client application, which is HackerRank application. HackerRank application. Now I want to access HackerRank website to practice problem solving skills. To practice my coding improvement, I want to use HackerRank. I am end user. I am end user. I want to access this website. In this website, there are multiple options available. Do you want to create the account? Do you want to create the account to access this application? If you are not interested to create the account in the application, then you can use Google account, Facebook account, LinkedIn account, or GitHub account. If you have account in any one of those applications, still you can use my application without creating the account. So how the execution flow is happening? User is landing on HackerRank website. User is seeing user landing on the HackerRank website. He is going for this page, sign up. Okay, I need to create my account. I need to provide my email ID and password. I'm not interested. I'm already having an account in my GitHub, Facebook, LinkedIn. In all these applications, I have the account. Then here, I will choose GitHub application. By using GitHub account, I want to use my HackerRank account. So then here, we can say GitHub application is available. GitHub application is available. HackerRank is having integration with a GitHub application to provide access for the users. In the GitHub, our data is already stored. GitHub will have a database. So GitHub is having my data. I can say GitHub is having its own database. 1 year back, I created account in the GitHub. My credentials are already stored in the GitHub. GitHub application can connect with this database. It is already connected with the database. It is storing all the GitHub users data. So that is one application. HackerRank is one application. GitHub is developed by one company. HackerRank is developed by another company. These are from two different companies. Now, as a user, by using GitHub account, I want to access HackerRank. So here, HackerRank should talk to GitHub. HackerRank should talk to GitHub and GitHub should talk to HackerRank. Then only this is possible, because I want to use HackerRank website, but I don't want to create the account in the HackerRank. My account is available in the GitHub. So HackerRank should communicate with the GitHub and GitHub also should communicate with the HackerRank. Then only this communication is possible. In order to establish this communication, we are using OAuth concept. OAuth security comes into picture to establish communication like this. Now, what is happening here? First, user landing on the HackerRank. From the HackerRank, user is choosing GitHub as the login option. So from the HackerRank, a request will go to GitHub application. From the user directly accessing GitHub, or user is accessing GitHub from the HackerRank? From HackerRank, user is accessing the GitHub from the HackerRank. When you click on the GitHub icon, it is automatically redirecting, guys, because I already logged in into my GitHub account. Okay, let me do once again. Let me go with LinkedIn. When I go for LinkedIn, here directly I'm accessing the LinkedIn, or I'm accessing the LinkedIn from the HackerRank. From the HackerRank, I'm accessing my LinkedIn. So see here, from the HackerRank, the request is going to GitHub. Then GitHub will send login page for the user. Are you guys getting my point? So first time, user is landing on the HackerRank website. From the HackerRank, user choosing GitHub option. A request is going to GitHub. GitHub will understand that the request is coming from the HackerRank. Here, the HackerRank website will send client ID, and client secret to the GitHub to represent that this request is redirected from HackerRank to the GitHub. So many users will access GitHub directly. Those requests are different. This request is different. So I am an end user. I have my account in the GitHub. Directly I can access my GitHub account. That is a different story. But here I am using HackerRank. From the HackerRank, my request is redirected to GitHub. So GitHub application should understand that this request is coming from HackerRank website. For that, HackerRank website will send client ID and client secret in the request for the GitHub. After receiving client ID and client secret, GitHub application will understand that, hey, this request came from HackerRank. Okay, some of my customer want to use the HackerRank by using his GitHub account. Okay, let me verify first, really that user having valid account in the GitHub or not. So then GitHub application sending login page for the user. Okay, guys, GitHub is sending login page for the user. Then what that user is doing, user is entering login credentials and submitting the login form. User is providing login credential. Login credentials are going to HackerRank. Login credentials are going to GitHub. Login credentials are sent from client, end user. End user got the login page. End user filling up the login details. Those details are sent to GitHub application. In the GitHub application, his account is valid or not. Already the data available in the database. GitHub application will verify this user is really GitHub user or not. That authentication will happen in the GitHub application. If those credentials are valid, then GitHub will understand that, okay, he is our customer. He is a valid customer. He is having the account in the GitHub. If his user account is valid, If user login credentials are valid, then finally GitHub will send one token to the hacker rank. Finally, one token will be sent to the hacker rank. Hey, hacker rank, you gave me one request. You gave me one request with the client ID and secret. I verified that user is my user only. He is having a valid account in the GitHub. You can trust that user. You can allow that person to access your application. GitHub is going to send a login token for the hacker rank application. When user credentials are valid, GitHub is going to verify the credentials. If the credentials are valid, GitHub will send a token to the HackerRank website. If a HackerRank website receive valid token from the GitHub, then HackerRank website will land you on the dashboard page directly. You no need to log in. So that is called OAuth security. In the real time, so many web applications are using this OAuth security concept. So you don't need to create the application directly in my website. If you have the account already in the Google, GitHub, Facebook, LinkedIn, any famous website, social media website, you already trusting them. You already created accounts with them. By using that account, you can access my application. So this is one way to attract the customers. Are you guys clear? If I ask user to create the account, if I am having good brand in the market, people will create the account. If I don't have good brand in the market, people may not trust my website. People may not create account in my website. In such scenarios, OAuth is going to help us. Are you clear? Now let me give the numbers for this so that you will get more clarity. Okay. So here, first one, end user, client. We are the clients. We want to access our application. I want to access HackerRank website. I'm going to HackerRank website. In the HackerRank website, I have seen a login option with the GitHub. Okay, I don't want to create account in the HackerRank. I want to use my GitHub account to log in into the HackerRank website. Observe carefully. I'm repeating the flow once again. Okay, coding part is nothing. It is just one line of code, 5 configuration properties we need to do in the YML. That's it. Coding is simple. Just understanding the concept is difficult here. First, I'm an end user. I want to use HackerRank application. I'm an end user. I want to use HackerRank application. In the HackerRank website, I have seen sign in with the GitHub option is available. Online students able to follow? Online students, are you able to follow me? Okay, yes, good. Yeah, now I'm an end user. I want to use HackerRank website. In the HackerRank website, I have seen one option, sign in with a GitHub. Okay, I'm impressed. I don't need to create the account in the HackerRank because I can log in with the GitHub account. GitHub and HackerRank both are developed by one company. Both are having single database. No, these are two different applications having different databases. Okay, fine. They are maintaining by different companies. HackerRank is from one company. GitHub is from another company. Now, end user is going to HackerRank. I want to log in using GitHub account. So whenever I click on GitHub page or whenever I click on LinkedIn or GitHub anything, then I am redirecting to the LinkedIn page. I'm redirecting to that LinkedIn page. Here I'm using GitHub. So here the request will be redirected from HackerRank to GitHub. How GitHub will understand? Is it a direct customer link, customer request, or is it a request from the HackerRank? Here client ID, client secret will be available. So now HackerRank will be sending client ID and client secret for the GitHub application. With that client ID and client secret, what GitHub will do? It will understand that this is not direct request. This is a redirected request from the HackerRank website. Then what GitHub will do? GitHub will send login page to the user. GitHub is going to send login page for the user because GitHub should verify user is valid or not on behalf of HackerRank application. Okay, GitHub is sending login page for the end user. End user should provide his credential details here and click on sign in button. So here user is providing his credentials and submitting that form to the GitHub application. Submitting the form to the GitHub application. Now login page came for end user. User provided login credentials to the GitHub. Then what GitHub has to do? GitHub has to verify that the data is valid or not. For that, in the real time, people will say in the GitHub, auth server will be available. Authentication server will be available in the GitHub. And here, resource server will be available in the GitHub. Resource server will maintain user details. Okay, which resource user is trying to access? Resource details will be available in the resource server. Authentication server will be available, which is responsible to verify credentials are valid or not. Let me give that step as sixth step. Resource server will provide the details of the user. Authentication server will verify user provided login details are matching with our resource details or not. If it is not matching, that means that request is failed. User is not a valid user. That user cannot access HackerRank. For example, if credentials are valid, so GitHub authentication server validated that user details are correct. If user details are correct, then GitHub is going to send a token for the HackerRank application. This is the important step. If your credentials are validated at the number 6, then GitHub application will send a token to the HackerRank application. What is the meaning of token? Hey HackerRank, that user is my customer only. His account is valid in our application. You can allow that person to access your application. Like that, GitHub is sending a token to the HackerRank application. Once a HackerRank received that token, HackerRank is going to provide the dashboard page as a response for the user. Finally, that response will come to the user. That user can access HackerRank application directly without creating the account. So this is the complete execution flow of OAuth security. Now we need to implement this in our Spring Boot. In our REST API, we need to implement this functionality. That token means one alphanumeric text. GitHub will send my user details to the HackerRank. Not complete data. Not complete data. We can restrict it. What kind of data that it can provide for that? It may send my username or my email ID or my phone number. It depends upon the client request. GitHub will send my details to the HackerRank. Not complete profile data. Some limited data, which is not PII. Personally identification information will not be sent. My name it will send. With the name, there is no problem. You can do that. Because whenever you are trying to access GitHub with your Google account, Google will share some information to the GitHub. GitHub will maintain your data. Okay. Guys, able to understand the execution flow now? Are you able to understand the execution flow? Now tell me, what is OAuth? OAuth is one of the security technique to secure our applications, and it is used to provide login access for the applications. Without creating the account directly, we can access those applications by using with the help of some third-party application. We can allow users to access our application by using third-party application account. Without creating account in our application directly, they can access our application. Now, Same thing I want to do in our project. What I will do is, instead of hacker rank, I will keep our REST API. Okay. Now I will develop one REST API by using Spring Boot. I will develop one REST API by using Spring Boot. If you send request to the REST API, it will redirect to GitHub. If you log in into GitHub with your account, then only you can access my REST API. Otherwise, you cannot access my REST API. Are you guys getting my point? So I am going to develop one REST API. I will secure my REST API with the help of GitHub integration. Anybody who want to access my REST API, they need to log in into their GitHub account. If they have valid account in the GitHub, then only they can access my REST API. Otherwise, they cannot access my REST API. So that is the integration between Spring Boot and GitHub with OAuth security. Are you clear with this? Yes. In order to develop this application, we need client ID and client secret to send to the GitHub. Whenever a request comes to my REST API, automatically it will redirect to GitHub. GitHub should understand from which application this request came with the help of client ID and secret. Okay, here I have given some steps in order to integrate our Spring Boot with OAuth using GitHub account. Before going to do this process, I'm going to implement this. Create OAuth application in the GitHub. That application will give you client ID and client secret. In order to create the OAuth application with the GitHub integration, first we need to register our application in the GitHub. For that, we are going to get client ID and client secret. Okay, let me go to my GitHub account. Yes, I logged in into my GitHub account. In the GitHub account, there is an option called settings. Settings option is available. From the settings, you can navigate to one option called developer settings. Click on developer settings. In the developer settings, can you see one option, OAuth applications? Yes, click on OAuth application. These many applications I have already created as part of our Spring Boot classes for the demo purpose. Now I am going to create one new OAuth application. So whatever the project I want to develop, which will integrate with the OAuth by using GitHub, GitHub should understand about my application, my client ID, my client secret. For that, I need to register my application in the OAuth. So here, observe steps clearly. I'm coming to GitHub account. I logged in into my GitHub account. Then I'm going for settings. Here I'm having one option called developer settings. Click on developer settings. Go to OAuth apps. Then there is an option called new OAuth application. Now application name, it is asking, let me give SBMS 29 app. SBMS 29 app I am giving. Homepage URL, the full URL of your application homepage. Okay, http://localhost:8080. That is the default path of my application. Then description, Spring Boot REST API. Spring Boot REST API from Ashok IT. Authorization callback URL. Observe carefully. This is homepage URL. That means when the request should be redirected from our REST API to GitHub application. Okay. So here, whenever you access this URL, automatically the request will be redirected to GitHub. But in the HackerRank website, when the request is redirecting, when you go for HackerRank website, when the request is redirecting, whenever you click on this button, they have some image display in the pop-up. in this, for this image, they have given one hyperlink. URL will be available. Whenever you click on this button, it will be redirected. So similarly, here what I am telling is, when this application should redirect the request to GitHub, that is my homepage URL I'm giving. Then next one, there is an option called callback URL. What is the meaning of callback URL? Callback URL is, after receiving the token from the GitHub, which endpoint should be executed, which page should be displayed, which method should be called, that is the callback URL. Once your authentication is successful in the GitHub, GitHub will send you a token to the REST API. Once the REST API receive the token, REST API should execute which method should execute. Generally, dashboard methods will be executed after receiving the token successfully. Now here I'm giving the callback URL same, that is my endpoint URL. Now click on register application. With this, I have created one application in the GitHub. What is this? What is this, guys? It generated client ID. Okay, then here client secret, generate client secret. I got the client ID and I got the client secret. Okay, let me note down those details. Copy this as client ID. I need these details, guys. Otherwise, I can't integrate with the OR. This is my client ID and secret. Copy this. Here secret is generated. Let me copy that secret. Yes. So this is my client ID and this is my secret. Okay. With this, I'm good from the GitHub side. Let me log out from my GitHub. Sign out. I logged out from my GitHub account. Okay, fine. Now let me go here and let me create one Spring Boot application. Close this. Let me create file, new Spring Starter project 44 application, Spring Security OAuth. Spring Security OAuth application. Click on next. Here web dependency, Lombok also not required. Web dependency, DevTools I'm using. So only these dependencies are not sufficient. We are going for security. Web starter, then what is required? Security starter and OAuth client. Our application is acting as a client for the GitHub. So let me add those dependencies also. Let me go for security dependency, Spring Security. Then what is this? OAuth 2 client dependency also I'm adding. Click on next, click on finish. So with this, our application is getting created. OAuth application is getting created. OAuth application got created. Go to pom.xml. Go to pom.xml. Java version 11, OAuth client, boot starter security and web starter dependencies are available. Okay, let me create one simple REST controller, new class dot REST, some message REST controller. Yes, represent this as a REST controller @ REST controller. Write this public void string, public string. Guys, can we develop a Java program without class? The answer is yes from Java 21. That is a new update. You can directly write a void method. You no need to create the class also. Right. Public string, say hi. Today I have uploaded one video. Have you seen that? What is the change? Single file source execution. What is the meaning of that? If you have one single Java class, no need to compile. you can directly run the Java program, right? Internally, JVM will do that compilation. That is a new change in the Java 11 version. कितना लोग देखा? How many people watched that video? It is just for 2 minutes. 400 people watched. 4 hours back, I have uploaded this video. How to run Java source code from single file without compilation. Yes, we can do that from Java 11 version onwards. You no need to execute Java C and all. Directly Java space class name that will execute. You see here. Yes, here I have given that command. Yes, you see that. I'm not compiling that class. Directly I'm running that program. That is a new feature in the Java 11. But can I use that in the project level? No. So if you have single source file, if you have only one Java class, then directly you can run that class by using that command. No need of compilation. That class file also will not be created. How many of you know this before this video? One person, only one person. You also know that? Don't know. Okay. Online students. Guys, whenever you watch the video, you please like that video. Now, the reason is YouTube will promote our videos based on the likes. 400 people watched, but only 42 people liked. All of you like it, please. You have to like this video. Then only YouTube will promote our videos for new viewers. Java 8 batch, you already learned that. Okay. Only 10 people liked it. There are 150 people available in the class. 40 people offline, 120 people online, 160 people. Today, and another thing, in our channel, one video reached 1 lakh views. Remove duplicate characters in the given string. How to remove duplicate characters in the given string? I explained with 4 different approaches 3 years back. It reached to 1 lakh views. Okay, good. Fine, guys. So we are trying to develop one application. Say hi. Simply, I want to return one message. Hi, how are you? That's it. Just I want to get this response from the API. Let me map this to get mapping empty URL pattern. I'm not giving any URL pattern for this method. What I observe, what I configured in the GitHub, what I have configured in the GitHub, whenever request comes to this, it has to redirect to the GitHub. Once it receives valid token from the GitHub, it should call back the same method. I want to get the response from the same method. If it is complete web application with the UI, whenever token comes, redirect it to dashboard page, something like this. Okay. Message REST controller is available. Let me go here, refresh. I have not done any configuration as of now. I have not done any configuration as of now. Just I added security starter and OAuth dependency. Let us observe the default behavior of this application. Run as boot application. Run as boot application. Go to console. What happened now? System generated default credentials are coming here. Let us try to access our API. Localhost colon 8080 / Now it is having security starter. So by default, it is redirected to login page. But what is our requirement? OAuth. Our requirement is OAuth. Currently, our boot application don't know about the OAuth. Our boot application don't know about the OAuth. I have just added dependency for the OAuth, but I did not inform that you use OAuth security. For this, we need to write some properties in the YML file for OAuth integration. Okay, go to application.yml. In this YML, we need to configure integration with a Spring Security and OAuth. For that, these are the properties we need to configure. That's it. Spring Security, OAuth to client registration, GitHub client ID, client secret. If it is Facebook, Facebook client ID, client secret. If it is LinkedIn, LinkedIn client ID, secret. If it is Facebook, Facebook client ID and client secret. We are going for GitHub. Let me copy these properties. Let me keep in the YML. So whatever the client ID, client secret we have created, we need to keep that. Keep this client ID here and take this client secret and keep it here. That's it. We are done. So with this YML configuration, what our Spring Security will understand? Is it a normal security now or it is OAuth security now? It is OAuth security now. Perfect. Maven, update the project. Force update. Refresh. Run as Java boot application. Refresh. Run as boot application. Okay. Now, default credentials generated or not generated? Earlier, default credentials generated when we don't have this configuration, because it is understanding that security starter is available, but there is no security configuration. When the security configuration is not available, it will take the default credentials. When we have the security configuration, priority will be given to the configuration we have done. I have given OAuth to client registration here. Now let me go and access our application REST API. Okay, localhost / 8080. Observe carefully. Earlier, when I access that URL, what happened? Login page came. That is provided by Spring Security. Now access it. What happened now? What happened now? When I access my REST API URL, it redirected to GitHub. Now, if I log in into GitHub, now you see, I'm sending a request to REST API. What this REST API has done? It is sending, now you see, GitHub login, client ID and client secret. Whatever the client ID and client secret we configured in our YML, our REST API taking that data, sending to GitHub application. After sending the request to the REST API, it redirected. Third step happened. It sent the request to GitHub. Then what GitHub has done? Fourth step it has done. What the GitHub has done now? It sent login page for the end user. Send the login page for the end user. Okay, let me log in into my account. Suppose if I log in with incorrect password, sign in, what happened? Incorrect username and password. My REST API validating the credentials or GitHub is validating the credentials? Authentication is happening at the GitHub side, not at our REST API side. Now let me give valid credential. After giving valid credentials, let's verify the URL, guys. After giving the valid credentials, let us verify the URL will be redirected or not. Okay, I am giving my valid GitHub account data. Click on sign in. Then what is happening? What is happening? So it is saying that, boss, you accessed one application. That application redirected your request to my application. I have given the login access for you. Your credentials are valid. Authorize your request. That means, do you really want to provide your data, profile information to the application which you want to access? If I give the permission, authorize that then only I will be redirected to the REST API. Here, first time that is going to ask me, whenever I send a request to the REST API, it is redirected to the GitHub. GitHub is send me the login page. I logged in with my credentials. Then GitHub taken one extra confirmation from my side. Are you sure? Do you want to approve this? Yes, I want to approve this. Then GitHub has taken my confirmation. GitHub has sent the token to my REST API. As my REST API received that token, it redirected the request to that callback URL we have given. As it is redirected to the callback URL, my REST API is accessible. Let me go to Firefox. Let me go for another browser. Let me do that. Localhost colon 8080. What happening? Again, it is coming with the login page. Okay. Let me log in here. Now, give the password. Valid data. Click on sign in. Don't. Okay. Click on sign in. Now, is it asking second time? Is it asking second time? No, only first time when the integration is happening, it is asking for the confirmation. I confirmed it. So second time when I'm accessing from the browser, if my credentials are valid, automatically the request will be redirected to the REST API. So where the authentication is happening? Authentication is happening in our REST API. Authentication is happening in the GitHub. Authentication is happening at the GitHub. If you have valid account in the GitHub, then only you can access my API. Otherwise, you cannot access my API. This is called OAuth security in our application. Are you clear with this? So in the real time, in some projects, people will use this OAuth security. With this, we understood what is OAuth and how to implement this OAuth concept. Next level security in the real time, that is JWT. So this is another security mechanism that currently people are following to secure the applications. JWT. JWT stands for JSON Web Tokens. JWT stands for JSON Web Token. That we will discuss in the tomorrow session. What is JWT and how to work with JWT. Fine. We can also give that logo. Here, whenever I'm creating app in the GitHub, it will ask me upload logo. There you can upload your logo. No. Settings, developer settings, OAuth apps, 29 SBMS app is available. Upload your logo. Whenever you create the application, you can upload the logo which you want to display there. Yes, it will redirect to that. You can take the screenshot, guys. Upload in the group. Some files are in one system. No. Okay. Yeah, you can just take the snap and keep in the group. Let me do that. In my mobile, I will try. WhatsApp access nahi hai isko. Guys, how project development is going on? Online people are commenting in the group. Please do the live coding in the class. We are not able to do it. Guys, it's seriously, if you are asking me to do the live coding, I will do it. That's not a big deal for me. Every API I can complete in one day. So if you are not able to implement CRUD operations in the application, then tomorrow what you will do in the company? So doing the live coding, that is not important in the course. I can complete the coding admin API one day, AR API half an hour, DC API may take 1 or 2 days of time. So I can do that. So first I want you people to try that and check yourself how much you are able to do it. Are you fit for attending experienced interviews or not? If you can do that project on your own, you are capable to attend experienced interview. If you are not able to do that project, you need to stop experienced interviews and you need to attend fresher interviews only. So that is a measurement for you. If you are able to do that project on your own, you can try for experienced interviews. Okay. If you are not able to do that project on your own, don't go for experienced interview. Definitely you will get rejected. So you need to plan for the fresher interviews only. You can check that measurement. I spent 8 months of time for the full stack. If I do the live coding, it will take another 1 week extra. That's not a big deal for me. If you want, I can do that. So if I do the coding part, when you will realize how much you have learned, what is your thought process, what is your thinking capacity, you will never realize that. That's the reason I have not started the coding in the major project. Definitely I will do that before completion of the course. Otherwise, people will go outside and will tell Ashok sir not developing major project in the class. I don't want to take that negative feedback. I will develop the project, but not immediately. First, I want to see how you are doing that, how much you are able to do that. If you are able to do it, confidently you can attend for experienced interviews. If you are not able to do that, chupchap fresher interview attend karna padega. Right? Yes, you can take that as a measurement for you. So we have already given schedule. This is Saturday 6 p.m. We have resume preparation workshop. It will go 6 to 9 o'clock. 3 hours workshop. The people who want to go as experienced people, for them that workshop is very important. This Saturday 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have that workshop. Already we have released that poster. Okay guys? Offline only. Yeah. Offline plus online will be there. Combination. Yeah. That we are taking from the formula. No need to match. Sometime my mobile number can change. No need to match with the data. We need only state name is matching or not. That's it. You no need to get mobile number, email ID from the SSA web. That's not required. We no need to do any validation on that. Our only importance is for the SSN number, what is the state name is available. That's it. Yes. Right. Fine, guys. How many days to complete Spring Boot classes? Maximum 1 week. One JWT topic is pending. Mono and Flex topic is pending. And JUnit unit testing that we have to do that. I will take that as a workshop. Kafka. I think Kafka already you have gone through theoretical part. Coding part we will do in the class. Right. I think 4 or 5 topics are pending in the Spring Boot, guys. We'll complete within a week of time. Okay? Fine. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the tomorrow's class. Spring batch is also available. Yes. Spring batch topic also we have to discuss. Right. Fine, guys. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.